Pearson.
I'm Justin Pearson.
Welcome to the Brother Side Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Adam Monke. Adam, how you doing today?
Good. What's up, guys? How are you?
Good.
Real good, man. Real good.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha.
You know, you introduce everybody as a special guest. I know there's, but I mean, I think we need to change it for each person.
Here's a less special guest next time, right?
More special. It doesn't have to be less special.
Okay. Here's more than last week's special.
Blake hasn't.
I'll take it.
Our last guest, Blake, he said he hadn't listened yet. So he met with Erin today, and he told her that he hadn't listened.
Wow.
So
that's great.
Adam's definitely more special than Blake.
Yeah, for sure. Listen to our podcast.
So then we don't have to say anything bad about you next week.
No, I'm on the edge of my seat for that third one. You know what I mean?
So, Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a married guy. You have kids.
I am. So I've been married for 6 years, and I have 3 boys, Monte, Maverick, and Mercer.
Okay.
And their ages are 4, 3, and 2. And so, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a hectic day-to-day, but we love it, so.
Yeah, is your house is pretty rough then? A lot of rough housing.
It's funny because we lived in a barn for almost a year.
Wait, back up.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So we used to live in Fremont, Nebraska, and we got to the point where we kind of outgrow the house we were in, and fast forward, it was on the market for a few days and sold really quick. We did a private sale, and cut to the place we were moving to was empty. The farm that I actually grew up on, and we have a bunkhouse out there, and so that's where we lived for a year until the remodel and addition were done.
Wow.
On the house we live in now. So.
Wow.
So what do you mean bunkhouse? Like, is it like an apartment kind of? I mean, it had a bathroom, a bedroom, like a studio apartment?
It's a good question. So it's
Was there animals underneath you?
so no, but above. So it's where me and my dad, we've traveled the world hunting, all over the world, and there's I'm trying to think how many continents there's critters from, but so not above us or below us, but above us. So the whole room, it's in essence a trophy room, and so there's 3 rooms. We've got South Africa, New Zealand, a whole bunch of different critters in there, and needless to say, it had air conditioning and it had heat. So.
Yeah, well, that's all you need.
What's the craziest critter you've shot? It's got to be a lion.
Bears are up there, and lions, no lions yet.
Is that even legal anywhere?
It is. Oh, yeah.
You got to pay big money for those kind of permits, don't you?
Correct, yeah. I mean, but it's an integral part of the conservation, too. I mean,
the money that you pay for the permit is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, precisely. So, yeah, we lived there. It was wintertime, so we moved in like the November time frame, and it got to late spring. There's a terrible blizzard, and needless to say, we slept in the garage portion, but it was still, it's sealed off, right? So
sure.
Mice aren't running through the bottom of the door.
Right.
But we set up our bed like a barracks. So at the time, my wife was expecting our Mercer, who's the youngest, and she was laying there in there was a blizzard, so her hair was waving in the air as we slept. She's like, we got to get in the house.
Yeah.
My wife wouldn't be down with that.
No
way.
It's funny. I have one of the guys that works with me. He is living in a shed right now. He built an apartment inside of a shed on the land that he's building a house on. So it's weird that same concept.
That's it.
Yep. They moved out of their house. He's very handy enough to build an apartment. Like for me, it would just be like sleeping bags in a shed. It wouldn't be like, but he framed it all out, drywall,
That's
the
perfect.
works,
That's
in
perfect.
the shed, and plus a camper. They have a camper in there also. So
Okay.
it's
Yep.
So your kids jack around before they go to bed? Keep you up and
They
start
do.
slapping each other?
Big time. And yeah, so to piggyback, when you ask if our house is pretty break proof, it is, because once we moved in, it wasn't we bought the necessities and kept the whole house a rumble room because knowing the writing was on the wall.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit's gonna get broke.
Yeah,
for sure,
you can't
for sure.
you can't stop it.
No, it's you mitigate it. Right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
That's it.
You try to just lessen the damage.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's I have 2 boys.
Okay.
So and they're 6 and 3 and almost 4. So I have a similar. I feel how you, but they're not 1 year apart. So my oldest definitely dominates the youngest, kind of like I used to dominate and still do Alex. And
Yeah, you gotta throw that in there. There, I used it.
so back then it's still very much one-sided, and I can understand that's a pretty tight group. I mean,
It is.
someone might have the upper hand at any given point. Now,
Yeah.
maybe not the 2-year-old, but
No, he holds his own. He's gonna be, and he's a grinder in his own right because he has to be, right? He's excelled faster than those other 2 just by default because he's
Sure.
It's survival mode.
yeah, oh yeah,
When you're the younger one, you just get tougher, stronger, smarter.
Yeah.
Probably
smarter,
better looking.
smarter.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one says that.
Yeah.
No, and so and I'll be completely honest. I didn't know if I was going to do this today or not, but obviously we just met you guys, and on the way down, I had to get a ride from my wife just because we don't come to the big city very often. But we actually, and I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll talk about this later, but when this airs, it'll be fun. But we're actually expecting our 4th. And
Oh,
nobody
jeez.
knows about this except for you guys now. So
That's
Hey-o.
awesome. That's
and so when your viewers know, our folks will know, and we'll
That's
find out here
awesome.
at 5:15 if it's another boy or girl. But yeah,
Wow. Congratulations.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
that's
I
cool.
feel honored that we're the
yeah,
ones that
yeah,
find.
you should. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so timing was right. But.
Yeah.
These sound effects are coming in handy. Right?
God, I would say they couldn't have been better for this moment.
Yeah.
No, agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Is it going to be another M name?
I think so.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
trend?
What
What's
is
the
what's
trend?
the what's with the M's?
I don't. Just rings well. So here's where I go
Well, you're
to.
like Eminem and M.
So I have big hopes and dreams of someday getting my favorite name in there. I've always wanted to do like a Sue, a boy named Sue, like
Okay.
middle name
Okay.
Danger.
Okay.
Sue Danger Monkey. That's got a nice ring to it.
Sue
But
Danger Monkey.
If we're gonna stick to the M theme, and if
Okay.
it's another boy, man, I'm lobbying the hell out of my wife for this one. But call him Maine, like the
Maine?
state.
Yeah.
Middle
Okay.
name Event, Maine Event Monkey. Dude, come on.
A born like UFC fighter or
Dude,
something.
Yeah.
and so that's the main thing behind the M's. It's like, to me, when you're gonna name your child, what's gonna sound good over the loudspeaker? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monte Monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna catch some shit for that though?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
More,
He's gonna
less
get
than
bullied,
Sue,
like,
though.
no,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
I mean,
awesome.
the thing is, if he's got good friends, he's gonna catch shit either way.
True.
It's just what are they gonna make fun of him for?
yeah, how bad it's gonna be? or
Right.
how bad is
Right.
it?
Exactly.
Well, you're not helping the cause with the name.
No. No. I
Main
find
event.
myself falling subject to, like, I always patronize my folks and my in-laws, but they always get them mixed up. And then when I get raging mad, I do too. I'm like, which one are you?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
You guys know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I call
Set
them.
myself up.
I have 2 kids and I mix them up, and they don't start with the same letter name.
Yeah.
I
that's
just
pretty
think
bad.
I'm slow, so I don't.
Like I said, the dumber brother. That's
People
on
don't
air.
call me that.
That's on air.
People don't say you're the dumber brother. That's never
I
happened.
think most people would agree though.
They might think
yeah,
that.
no one said it out loud, but they all know.
Okay. Let's talk about something different.
Yeah, so
Smarter brother.
Adam comes into the studio limping, and there's a reason. This guy runs ultramarathons.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, an ultramarathon is a marathon over 26 miles, correct?
Correct. Anything over the marathon distance of 26.2 would be coined an ultra marathon. There's distances of primarily anything 30 miles to 240 miles out there. There's
What?
6-day events. There's
Oh.
numerous. The 200 milers, those are through.
Multiple days.
The 200 milers are grip and bear it for as long as you can until you're done. Just like a 100 miler, but.
Ugh.
Multi-day events, actually, there's people who do run those multi-day events straight through. They're up for 3, 4, 6 days at a time. But
Jeez.
How? I don't understand how you can do that physically. Like
And it doesn't come down to the physical portion of it. I'd say that's 10% of it at any distance. But then, it's most of the time it's that mental fortitude, the capacity to
Push through.
yeah, and not sleep.
Yeah.
Dial in your nutrition. All those things can definitely play a role in succeeding or not. But
Sure.
So let's kind of back up a little bit.
Sure.
So you don't just jump into ultra marathons. How did you get started in running in the first place? Far distances.
Yeah, great question. So in 2010, I had moved back. I had played college football, and I played college football for South Dakota State. I didn't have any injuries at the time.
Sure.
I messed up my ankle once in the Iowa State game my sophomore year, but that was easily fixed. And
What position do you play?
I was a running back, kick returner, punt
The
returner.
running back.
The running back. Oh yeah! Yes.
Yeah, so I
yes.
mean, it was good. I'd give my college career a solid C+. I was
Okay.
better than most and worse than some. So I mean, it was
That's
it
no.
was a good career.
That's
but
humble.
Yeah, I like that.
analogy there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great. I mean, the relationships you make and the experiences you have, it was great. We, I got 2 conference title rings out of the deal, and let's not forget who we beat for those. It was, North Dakota State. So
Sure.
we always say Buck to Fison. I mean,
Yeah. And now they're on a string. They've been on a
Man.
run
It's
for the last
unbelievable.
5,
Nobody can
6
beat 'em.
years.
yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah.
Just out recruit everybody. They're the Alabama of.
Pretty
Kind
much.
of, yeah.
I mean, it's something. I mean, I can't downplay it. They're a good club, and they always
And it's been multiple coaches too.
right.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh.
They got something going on, and it
How do you
must be in the water.
recruit to North Dakota? I was just up there
It's-
over the weekend. I'm just, I was passing through. Thank God.
Yeah. You don't stay for too long. No.
That's funny you bring that up. A lot of my teammates were from Arizona, California, but they always come up for the visits like July and August, right? It's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, it's not so bad, it's pretty warm, but then December,
Really?
January, they're like, they never said anything about
Yeah.
30 below,
Yeah.
wind blowing,
Yeah.
but they get used to it.
That's
so.
not part of the sales pitch.
right,
No,
right,
no.
right.
There's tons of women. Just
Yeah.
get up there.
Yeah.
We'll show you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
swear they're here.
Drink 10 more beers and we'll show you.
Yeah, they went out for the week. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so 2010, fast forward, moved home, was working in the family business, and was playing in an old man flag football tournament. Cut to, literally on a cut to, didn't have any contact, but I was staring at the bottom of my foot, had messed up my leg really good. I dislocated my left leg and just smashed and made my whole left knee garbage, and then the 2 bones below were broken as well. So that
compound fracture.
well, they were fractured, but they weren't compounded. Luckily, because those happened after my first step. So I reset my own leg because it was dislocated.
Oh.
I'd seen it
Was
before.
It was dangling? Kinda?
No, it was
No.
bent in the wrong direction, straight
Oh.
up.
Oh,
to me.
my
But I was
gosh.
hopping, so I mean, the long story short, it got set. In my first step is when I broke the bones below. So I got a new MC, ACL, CPC, new meniscus, and then so a little bit of hardware below.
What?
Yeah. And so, like most young men, you sit around at that age, throw a pity party, right? Drink
Yeah.
too much.
How old were you when that happened?
So I'd have been 24,
Okay.
25, I think it was. Yeah. 2000. Make
All
me do
right.
math
Wow.
here.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
brutal.
Yeah.
So mid 20s. What's the guy to do? Yeah, I drank too much and threw a hell of a pity party and just started running as far as recovery went. Was obviously going to PT, and those were all things I knew that I could do. But to be able to not put my own sock on or put my pants on or drive myself normally, it's a tough pill to swallow when
Yeah.
it's the first time you've been told you can't physically do those things, right?
Sure.
Right.
And so it was an eye opener, and like I said, it was a long couple months. Fast forward, started running. At first, it was around the block. Then it was a mile or 2, and then I think my curiosity probably got the better of me, and just started searching for longer distances, and found those. Not competitively yet, but found those 20, 30, 40 mile distances on my own.
Huh.
Just
How-
unknowingly knew that there was, it was pretty naive of me to think that it was like people would actually go do that just for
Shits and giggles.
Yeah.
compete, right?
Yeah, I find the distance from like the couch to the fridge for a beer. Like I know that distance really well. Like,
Well, you do it
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Like, it depends on how
You're
many
like,
times you do
That
it.
carpet is worn out.
yeah, I'm like, oh man, I'm thirsty. Beer.
So how long did it take you to build up to 20, 30 miles?
Yeah.
A year?
Yeah, I'd say so because you battle injuries, right? I was coming off a pretty substantial injury, and I had dead foot, right? When I dislocated my leg, I had stretched and frayed so many nerves in my leg that it just
Hung.
just hung like it.
Ugh.
Like it,
Was it numb?
yeah, it's still numb. I still have terrible numbing, and it's a danger when it gets cold because it's susceptible to frostbite.
Sure.
And,
Yep.
different things, but yeah, you get used to it, and so I got used to running with it, and it slowly started to come back. Before you knew it, I didn't need the foot lift or anything, but yeah, it took a year or two to get into
Yeah.
it, and then ultimately, fast forward to 2015, let's go back to 2013, 14. I was going to competitively run a full marathon, and I had to cut her short because I proposed to my wife after the Lincoln Marathon. I didn't budget enough time because I thought I could run the full marathon in the amount of time that she ran the half. And I was wrong. And I was
I'm gonna
nervous
do
anyway.
12
So
more
it's like,
miles of-
Yeah.
so I'm like, I was
I'm
doing
sure
the
she
math.
loved you for that
Yeah.
too.
Well, if anybody's ever run the Lincoln, it's a split. It's like
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
here, you go there.
Uh-huh.
And I was about to go there. I did some arithmetic real quick. I'm like, no. Pulled
I'll
the plug.
duck in.
I bailed,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't want to run another 13.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
I was nervous, right? I was going to
Sure.
just propose to my wife, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
on the 50-yard line, I proposed to Sarah, and fast forward, here we are with
That's awesome.
number 4
Wow.
on the way. But back to the running portion, it was 13 was the longest I had ran, and then 2015, body felt good, everything was in rhythm, and I signed up for my first ultra, and it was a 100-miler. So I went from 13 miles to my first 100-mile competitively.
That's not a normal jump.
No,
That is
no,
not.
it's
I,
not.
I think of Forrest Gump. I'm just like, I just started running. You know,
I
like,
was running, man.
I was running. You know, like
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Forrest.
You just start running, and you're just like, all right, that
Yeah.
6 felt good, and then
Right.
you're like,
Yeah, you
10's
grew a
okay.
beard
Here we go.
Grew a beard while he's running.
That's what I'm thinking of, because that kind of jump, normal people just don't make that jump.
Right.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. There had to be
That's
some
what-
kind of
yeah,
mental.
what's-
That's a loaded question.
Yeah, that. Where do I start? Yeah.
People. Okay, so like I like to do hard things.
Sure.
I'm pretty curious, and I appreciate, when you go run those 20, 30-mile runs, how you feel when you're done, right? Alex and I had talked before. It's like you cranked out that 10-mile run, you felt like Superman afterwards, right?
I don't know about Superman, but
You're pretty.
I felt
but you
good.
feel accomplished.
Yeah, I felt
yeah. Like you're
accomplished.
just like, man, I did it. I hated it while I did it, but
Yeah.
man, I did it.
Yeah, sometimes it's grueling. But before that run, you were curious enough to say, how's this going to go, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you just laced them up and you went for it. You got done. Same thing as running 100 miles. It's just, 9X, right? I signed up. I just
Yeah,
signed
you
up.
just make it sound so casual. It's just,
It's just-
10 times 10, 100 miles. Why not?
And that's how you break it down. You can't, I always say, people always ask me, how do you run 100 miles? It's like 1 mile at a time.
Yeah.
You can't,
Well, yeah.
you can't do it all at once, right?
Sure.
When you're on mile 1, you don't think about mile 2. You think about mile 1.
Right.
You do that 100 times, you're done.
Yeah.
And so,
Huh.
it's not overcomplicated. If you're going to think about taking on a 100-mile event, that's the best advice I can give you. Don't ever do math. Don't do arithmetic while you're running, because if you start that game, it's going to be a long day. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
boop, hear your little watch go off. Like, what was that, 2? Oh, right. 98 to go. It's like, that
Yeah.
game over,
Yeah,
right? It's
no
like,
kidding.
Don't do that. Don't put yourself through that gluttony, because it makes for a long day. I've done it.
What are you thinking about when you're running?
Yeah.
Do
Are
have
you?
music?
Well,
Can
you
music?
have to have
Sometimes.
music, something.
Sometimes. And so, not all the time. For me, running is very unadorned. It's simple. I run 3 businesses. Life's pretty hectic with the boys, and so I appreciate the solitude and the simplicity of running, right? So like, I do run with music sometimes. I like to educate myself. I listen to a lot of books on tape. Call me old-fashioned, but like, I love American politics. I like, I just
The Brother Side podcast now.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll kill an hour.
Right.
Something new to talk.
That's
That'll
it.
kill a few
That's
few
it.
miles.
We'll load up the
Yeah.
iPod, right?
Yeah.
But And so in those races, you either have a pacer. Most races will allow a pacer after 50 miles for pretty much safety. Example, Leadville. I ran Leadville last August. That's an entire 100-mile race that never dips below 100,000 or 10,000 feet. That's 100 miles all above 10,000 feet. You go up over Hope Pass, which is almost 14,000 feet, right? You run all day. You don't have a pacer. You get tired.
What do you mean pacer? Like you're chasing a motorcycle or a rabbit
so
or
let's
a
say
person?
let's say I call you up. I say, hey Justin, I need a pacer for this race. I pay for you to travel and come with us. You stay with us from usually Thursday, Friday through to Sunday when the race is over, and I'll pick you up at an aid station of one of these 100-mile races, and then you'll be with me for 10 to 40 miles. So sometimes these races are so rigorous. I'll have a couple pacers, and I'll pick you up at mile 50 or 60 whenever the race allows, and then we'll run 10, 15, 20, sometimes 40 miles, and then you get me home safe. Yeah,
just running together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say pacer, they're setting the pace. Like, hey, I want to run a 9-minute mile. Set me.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because
sometimes, yep, and other times that's not allowed. Like there's no mule, and so he can't like carry my hydration or my water or my calories or anything like that. He's just there to keep me awake and from running off the edge of a mountain. In other races when you're trying to hammer out a 14, 15-hour 100-mile race, it's like, hey, I've got some goals here. That's still averaging 7-8 minute miles for 100 miles, right? So it's like when you run that long and you ask that much of your body for that long, you get weirred. Shit goes weird, right?
Just to sign up is weird.
So like you stop to take a piss, or you you need some food, what have you. It's easy to get lost in, it's the same mundane thing.
Sure.
For 15 out, 14, 13, 14, 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
So when you're trying to keep hammering, it's easy to get lost, and you just get weird, and that stuff can be mitigated obviously by the science of the calories you put in.
Sure.
Sodium, magnesium, all those things that you need to stay up on. So your protein and the hydration you have within all those miles. But your pacer will be there to help you keep those things rolling in.
I think.
Hey, did you take a piss?
If weird is one of the things that happens, I think we might be able to do it.
Yeah.
You're weird as shit.
That's true. What are you eating on the run? I picture you crushing bananas like Donkey Kong up there.
Well, if you're eating all this stuff, who's carrying the colostomy bag? Because that's like you just hook that to your waistband, or because otherwise
you just let it happen. No,
because I've heard on marathons like your bottom half goes numb, so you can't even tell when you have to take a dump.
So people are just shitting themselves?
Well, one of the guys that I used to work with, he was running the St. Louis Marathon and watched someone shit themselves right in front of him. Really? And he's like, well, I better pass this guy. Yeah. Otherwise he's going to kick some up on me.
Stay upwind.
Yeah, exactly.
Those guys are asking a lot of their body in a shorter, your heart rate's higher for a shorter period of time. You're talking, 2.5, 4.5 hours, you're redlining your body the whole time, right? 180, 190 beats per minute. So things like that happen.
Sure.
In an
okay,
ultra,
that makes sense.
We're 145, 150. You could get up to 180, 190, but that means you need to back it down. I don't believe in watching, things like that, but you can obviously tell you're overdoing it. I mean, you're going to bonk if you say, I'm going to go out here, I'm going to run this entire 100 miles with 190 beats per minute. And
it's just not sustainable.
It's not. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. And in those higher altitudes and those races that are a lot of up and down. Example, Hurt 100. I ran the Hurt 100 in January in Hawaii. That's 30. I think it's under 35,000 feet of elevation gain and descent in 100 miles. That's up and down Everest twice in less than 30 hours, right?
No kidding.
So
Wow.
like that, you're not running the whole time, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like if you get in rhythm and you're power hiking, that heart rate gets down there, and it's a sustainable pace for 100 miles for sure.
Power hiking. Huh. All right.
That's what we were doing when we did our 14er.
Yeah, we did a 14er last August.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Which one?
Quandary Peak.
Cool.
It's
cool.
Yeah. We just look at each other. It starts with
what?
a Q. Quandary Peak. It's one of the more popular ones by Breckenridge.
Yep,
But,
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, we did it with our dad.
Cool.
So he's
The bucket list
60.
thing.
He's 64. Was 64 when he did it? Because he just turned
65.
65.
Okay.
I think 66.
Anyway, he's in his
Beautiful.
mid 60s, and yeah, so it was a bucket list for him, and we'd kind of always we'd talked about doing it, but obviously had more faith in ourselves than a 65-year-old guy. But
What
you
a
know,
did
champ.
really well.
That's awesome.
yeah, he did it. He did well. You know, rocked it. Honestly,
I assume you've probably done quite a few.
You know, not as many as you'd think. You know, it's as you guys can attest to. There's very few 14ers that you can actually run up, right?
Sure.
And so,
so what are you saying? If you can't run it, you ain't doing it. Yeah, that's what, I can't run that one. I'm out, guys.
you know, I'd be glad to take my kids up and, you know, do a day hike or something like that. But it's tough too. You know, a 14er on a day hike, you gotta start early. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
that are doable from the trailhead. But yeah, I mean, we have a home in Colorado in Grand Lake, so we sleep at 9,000 feet. But you know, there's you know, you're surrounded by 14ers with they're all within, you know, 2 hours. Not all of them, but you
Yeah.
buzz up to Estes Park and hit some of those which are on the bucket list. But you know, if I'm going to go after a 14er, I'm going to try and FKT it. You know, fastest known time, and try and you know,
yeah.
buzz up, come down, ascent, descent, fast as you can, and then mitigate the neck breaking and ankle twisting.
FKT it for sure. Yeah, that was. I'm like FKT, no idea. Thank you for breaking it down.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
We saw some guys carrying bikes up.
Yeah.
And we're like, what?
They
They're
carried their
gonna
bike.
on this?
They carried their bike all the way up, and then they
Rip.
said it was more rocky than they expected.
Okay.
And then ended up carrying it probably a third the way down. They got on it when they could.
Sure.
But it was just some parts the rocks were just
There's
too
no
big,
way.
and it was
You
just
go
too
over,
steep.
you're going over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Poor planning.
Yeah, and yeah, they didn't. They probably should have hiked it once,
Yeah.
and then been like, okay, we can bring our bikes up here. But I was like, we both are like, that's kind of cool, but also a little insane, because if one wrong turns,
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
ah,
Is there an app for
There
that?
goes Jim.
I need a new bike partner.
So when you go up elevation like that, do you take any breaks or it's just full bore?
You mean like to compete or just go for it? Like,
Just
so
go
being
for
a
it.
flatlander.
Well, in a race.
Yeah,
You're talking
okay,
a
yeah.
race.
So
yeah.
being a flatlander, yeah, that's terribly tough. I mean, it's you know, that was my first high altitude race, and I was obviously, that gives a guy a bit of anxiety to know if you could do it or not. But obviously, that's why you sign up for, you know, competitive races. And I'm not gonna lie, you, Leadville took me 3 years to get into. You know, it's not like they just let any
Really?
swinging guy in there to take a crack at it, because you gotta
You have to qualify?
correct.
Okay.
And then it's a lottery system as well. So, you know, I finished top 30 at Leadville, and that was there was, you know, almost 900 runners in that one. But
What do the runners look like? Do they look like you, like svelte and cut and, you know, super runnerish, or they
you know,
look kind of crazy and weird? Because that's what I picture.
Good question. They come in all shapes and sizes, and you know, I think that's the beauty of ultra in its own right too, and that's half the allure for me, right? Running 100 miles is hard. Whether you cross the finish line first or you cross it last, you covered 100 miles on foot. And
Right.
people's whys are so different. They're so, like, if you take 900 people and you say, go run 100 miles in Leadville, Colorado, they're all out there for different reasons, but the goal's the same.
Sure.
They want to finish.
They just started running.
Right. And so in races like that, excuse me, you do the arithmetic. Some of those folks aren't going to run, you know, an 8-minute mile all day long. Other folks will average that. That's a little gracious, but you know, it's a 9-10 minute mile is a little more realistic for the fastest. Those other folks need to maintain, you know, if they're going to finish under, you know, 20 under the cutoff, you know, they put time limits on these things. They just can't have people out there for a week running 100 miles.
Yeah.
You know, so 30, I believe Leadville. It just keep circling back to this one and using it as an example, but it's 30 hours, 36 hours maybe.
Cutoff time.
Correct, for the whole race, right?
Because it's
3
so
days.
high.
It's
Or
just
no.
so tough.
Because Leadville's
Yeah.
like one of
Yeah.
the highest, like, incorporated towns in the U.S., right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You got it. You got
Yeah.
it. And so it's but the people to me who come in right at that cutoff, right at, let's say it's a 30-hour cutoff, right at 29 hours.
Shouldn't be out there.
No, they should be. That's the most beautiful. You want to see pure human will at its finest? You go witness the end of a 100-mile race for someone dancing on a cutoff. That's a beautiful thing. Like,
Huh.
it's cool.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
If I go run 100 miles in 14 hours, great.
Sure.
Let's wait and watch that person finish when they have been out there
Nothing
for
left.
30 hours
Yeah.
and they just been grinding.
Have
Right?
you ever been close to a cutoff?
No.
No.
Do you
You're too
stay?
good for
Do you
that.
stay for the people that have been?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
I
to
mean,
see the willpower
that's
that.
it. And
you know,
pure
the
human
guts.
grit, right? Like, it's just so contagious.
Well, and it's so. I would imagine it'd be like super inspirational.
It
like
is.
just
It
seeing
is.
somebody at their like end.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would challenge anybody, any of the viewers and listeners to just YouTube that and some of those things. If you have any inclination you want to run 100 miles, go witness that. Pull some of those up and watch those people finish right at the end of a cutoff at any of the toughest race. At that Hawaii race, at the Hurt 100, cut off 30 hours. I think it was a 29, 59, 30 something.
Whoa. Cut
Living on the
close.
edge.
They call that like the last ass, right? Like, but that's just like,
So what happens if you're 30 and 30 seconds over?
You just.
it's a
just-
DNF. You did
Oh
not
Didn't.
finish.
no.
Yeah.
So does somebody come out on the course and be like, just stop running? You know, like.
Jim, give it up.
Yeah, just
I don't
hey,
know why I keep
you're
using
out.
Jim, but-
Yeah,
Jim Flo.
Jim, yeah,
You are disqualified,
Jim
man.
sucks. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. So they have these aid stations, relatively 5 to 20 miles throughout the race because you got to load up on calories and hydration and those things. There's cutoffs for those aid stations at certain
Oh.
points of the race too. So if you come into this aid station and you're 15 minutes behind the cutoff at that aid station, they're gonna pull you out. They're gonna say, "Look, Jim, you gotta
Yeah.
pack it up, bro. Nice
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
I mean, long day for you, but
Yeah.
maybe next year."
How shitty would that be,
Dude,
though?
Do you
to
have
get
to?
that far?
Do you have to qualify for all 100-milers? Like you can't just anybody like Alex slog into one.
No, he can. He can. A certain one, some of the lesser competitive ones, you can just, sign
That's
up
more
and
my
go.
speed.
Yeah.
Wow. So, do you see people on the course that just from the get don't look like they belong?
Totally.
Like no way this guy's gonna be able to do it.
Course.
Once again, probably a gym.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Yeah, I made that mistake one time, and then I've been beat by them. It's like,
Really?
Yeah. Let's be honest. 100 miles is a long way, right? So it's like
A lot can
anything
happen.
can happen, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
so if he has the day of his life, even if he's a better athlete than me, he may just be tougher than me on that day, right?
just
So
mentally in a
that's
better
it.
spot.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I have a bad day. My tummy goes whack. I roll my ankle. It's like this homie passes me. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
karma.
Yeah. Like,
Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I always say, like, it's like you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plan, right? It's
Right.
like, I'm gonna win this bitch.
yeah.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna win this. I don't think I've ever said that. Well, no, Alex said that at volleyball last weekend, and then we played.
Yeah. And then we lost.
Yeah,
A lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Not fun. I'm pretty competitive.
Alex
but,
is super. I'm competitive, but just not on the same level. So.
I understand.
Yeah. I've tried to dial it back over the years because as life has gone on, I've lost more. I was
Well,
never like at the top of anything, I would say. Well,
Yeah, but you were just very competitive at mostly basketball and like a
Yeah,
lot of things.
track.
Track.
I
You were
did
really
run
good at
track.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was good in middle school, and then I hit high school and just got my doors blown in.
Yeah, but
I-
he ran
What
a
distance?
sub 5-minute mile in 8th grade.
One time.
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always
Couldn't
at
do it
the
today,
top
but-
3 every track meet.
He's a
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Love it.
But
Okay.
yeah, things have
thank-
dropped off.
Thankfully, he remembers. Adam just has been pushing the buttons because
Yeah.
Alex always
Thank
forgets to
God
push
for
the
Adam
buttons.
today.
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing that's happened to you on a course? Something that really just like, why now, or anything from cramping to.
Well, cramping's not that weird in a
no,
run.
I mean, I'd imagine it's got to be worse than that.
So it could
Or
be a long
better,
list.
or
Like
better.
Yeah. Like those chicks are making out over there. Like, yes.
Yes,
I knew I
that's-
signed up for this this race for a good
you
reason.
do get into some.
Oh wait, I'm just
interesting
seeing
holes
something.
That'd probably be it, though.
Really?
You see, I mean,
Get delusional out there.
totally. So those things can be
just tons of naked chicks. I
wish they were that cool.
You guys didn't see those naked chicks out there?
No, bro.
What have you been smoking, Adam?
A polar bear holding a like a assault rifle, sniper rifle, in prone position over a rock, pointing his sniper rifle at me. He had a bead on me. I said, "Oh shit!" Do I keep running?
I better pick up the pace.
Yeah, and so in complete humility, that was my first 100-miler, and I didn't have a freaking clue what I was doing. Obviously, I only ran half marathon at the time.
Yeah.
Standing at the start line in some Carhartts because I was freezing, and like I think we were in Arkansas or Missouri or something, and yeah, man, I got behind on my nutrition. I didn't have, my sodium levels were off. I didn't have any, proper magnesium or chomps or any. I just quit eating because obviously I didn't know what I was doing. And
were you just nervous? Is that why you weren't
nerves?
eating?
Just didn't know, right? So I went out too slow, and then I got bored, and then I went out, and then I went too fast for too long, and then I got sick. And then once I get sick, you don't have any calories, and then when I say sick, I was throwing up and pooping.
Dry
and things.
heaving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just couldn't keep anything down, so there's no calories. And then you push your body that long and not being used to the sleep deprivation, because my first one was my longest run. That took me 24 hours, and just over. Yeah, it was 24 hours. I think I finished 10th.
Still,
yeah,
10th for first one.
But with not knowing what I was doing, I was extremely humbled by the whole experience. But I didn't set any goals, right? I didn't think I would.
Was there 10 people running?
Let's see. There was a couple hundred. I'd probably say.
That's impressive.
Who do you even talk to, to relate with on ultras? There's not many people who do them.
Yeah, good question. So tonight, we're doing a kind of a Q&A. Me and Lori from Fleet Feet here in Omaha and Lincoln, we're putting on. So I sit up there for an hour or two, or we have to limit it to 25 people, unfortunately, with social distancing. But
Sure.
we've opened it up for 2-3 weeks. We'll be doing a series in Lincoln as well. But people just come in. If they have any interest, they just come in and say, how do I get into this sport? What do I do? I'll just sit up there, and me and my wife answer. All honest disclaimer, I'm no doctor. I'm no nutritionist. I have, I'm not a doctor in the Western sense of the word.
Okay, Eastern medicine. You're the guy.
So I sit up there and say, this is what doesn't work, or this is what hasn't worked for us, because we've been there. I think I have almost 20 100-mile finishes under my belt, and we've seen a lot of this world, and we've seen a lot of what not to do in those various corners of the country. But
from somebody or yourself.
Correct.
Just
correct.
through your
trial
experiences.
by fire.
So you think you've. Wow, I can't talk.
So
20. You finished 20.
Yeah.
100?
So with that, it's been interesting to travel, and I think me and my wife, Sarah, we love getting out of our comfort zone. We love traveling. We love introducing our boys to new things and getting them out of their comfort level. I think that's a huge part of growing up. We've been blessed to do that, financially. We can swing some of those things from a calendar standpoint. We try to plan out the whole year, obviously, if you're injured or not, but we've averaged 2 to 6 100-mile races every year for the last 5 years. And so that has given us an amazing opportunity to watch our kids grow and eat different foods and be out of their comfort zones and meet new people in different cultures. I think it's priceless. I think that's a huge part of growing up. And
are all the races in the U.S.?
No,
Okay.
not all of them. There's a lot, and it's sad. It saddens me that that before the pandemic there was a ton. You could go run a 100-miler every weekend, right? But I just don't think that, like a lot of you run as a race director, you run a race like a business, or you should.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do. And I just don't know if they'll survive after this. So I don't think you'll see a lot of those races. I think the number of races will compress. Eventually come back, but.
Yeah, it'll take time.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it'll make the races that you're in more competitive.
You would think so.
Absolutely.
Everybody's trying to get in those few.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I January, we were in Hawaii, and then I put together, me and my Able team put together philanthropic. I've always wanted to put a philanthropic footstep to running 105 miles. I've just never been able to, or running 100 miles. I've just never been able to figure out how to raise money while running.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people get on board. Like It's like, well, you go run all the time. Why am I going to pay you to do it? It's
Right.
Like, well, the why, the cause was apparent in this instance. And,
Sure,
we raised some good money. So other than those 2 runs, I've registered for a 100-mile race every month since February, and they've all been canceled.
Wow.
Right.
So how do you keep it up then? Like, because if you're signing up for one every month, how do you like just keep the body going so you're ready?
Yeah, I just try to. Good question, and I wonder that too. It's like you have to step back and take a look at your training and say, how are we going to do this? Because for me, I've never woken up in the morning and been like, let's go run 100 miles. This is going to be fun. I
Yeah,
appreciate the process more than the
Sure.
actual race, and I like getting up early. I wake up, I start my day early. I
What
try
time?
3, 4 in the morning every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I get up, grind those miles out.
He doesn't
Get home.
drink. That's pretty obvious. Yeah, there's no way you're putting down some course, and then getting up at 3 o'clock and knocking out some miles.
Used to.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did.
But you'll put in 10 miles a day at least.
At minimum. So that's my, 10, 13 miles is my base mileage, and that's usually what I hover around until I register for another race. And then once I get on the docket and find one that lines up logistically with my work schedule and the family life and everything the stars have to align.
Sure.
Then I'll start a training block, and I try to do my big mile weeks 6 weeks out. So my training block will consist of roughly, depending on what's happening in my professional careers and in family life, but eight to I've done it 4 weeks, 8 to 4 week training blocks if I can. So it's a build up and then obvious taper down.
As you get closer.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
Yeah, just
So
like a
I've ran
marathon.
them. I'm trying to think. I ran a 100-mile race, and then 28 days later, I ran another 100-mile race. That was the
Wow.
closest I've ever done. Obviously, your end result of that second one was obviously not what it could have been because you didn't recover. But
It's crazy. You're
went
talking
for
a
it.
month later, but
Yeah.
it takes. I would assume it would take me like 2 weeks to recover from a marathon. Just aches and pains and.
I would say longer maybe.
No, I mean I'm tip top shape,
Oh yeah. I
so
forgot.
it wouldn't take me quite as long as you. for
What's
sure.
the proper amount of time for recovery? Do you think a couple months?
yeah, good. It's very relative, right, to the athlete, I
Sure,
would suppose.
yeah.
But
And
for
your
me,
age, yeah.
oof, amen to that, brother. Cheers
Yeah,
to that,
yeah.
because it doesn't get any easier. But I tell you that the more dialed in you can have your nutrition, and the more disciplined you can be leading up to during your training block, actually in the race,
Mm-hmm.
will speed up your recovery and ability to get back out there. Now, my wife Sarah has me dialed throughout the race that by Tuesday, race Saturday, by Tuesday I'm running again, no problems.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Was she
Are you
an
vegan?
Eastern doctor?
She's
Also?
a real doctor.
Oh, she's a real
No,
doctor.
No, she's not.
Yeah. A real.
Not in the Western
quotes.
sense, but
Okay. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah.
Like to be, I don't even think I'd want to run for like a week.
Or just ever again?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean,
I'm a firm believer in that. When you took your dad up the mountain, he'd probably be a good testament to this too. A body in motion stays in motion, right? So I
Yeah,
think
sure.
if you sat around for 2 weeks, you'd probably hurt more. Yeah, Tuesday runs after a 100-mile weekend is always a grind. It
tight.
sucks.
Just-
I mean,
do you still try and knock out 10?
no, I'll hit. I'll do like a reverse taper. I have no idea if that's appropriate to even say in the ultra running community or not. But I just do what I know or what works for me, right?
All the ultra marathoners that are listening just rolled their eyes. Is that what you're saying?
Probably
Reverse taper.
or like
Yeah.
turned
This
it
guy
off.
talking
They're like, this dipshit.
Yeah.
So the last week leading up to, I'll do like a 10.864, 10.864.2. So like Tuesday I'll do like 2 or 4 miles. The next day I'll do like 6 or 8.
Oh,
and
okay.
Just feel it out till we're back
I love
to base
how
miles.
6 to 8 is so nonchalant.
So casual.
Everyone
Yeah.
listens like, I'm never
Like,
doing
when's
that.
the last time most of us ran that far? The only time I've ever run that far I ran 8 miles. That's the farthest I ever run at one time.
Okay.
And we were doing the market to market. And
Beautiful.
So it was just a different animal because you're running like wait couple hours, run, wait couple hours.
Yeah.
So that was the farthest I ever ran was 8 miles, but I felt incredible after that.
Yeah.
That was I ran 6:45 for 8 miles.
Wow.
That yeah.
Cruising, man.
Around Zorinsky. Yep.
Love
Best
it.
and I'm like it was true runner's high. Like I felt it. Like I was like, this is what it feels like.
So what happened to that afterwards?
Well then
That high just kind of left, and
I realized like running's stupid. Like I'm done. So
I would echo that sentiment.
I'm like,
Running
this is so
stupid.
dumb. Like who would do this?
I consistently run around 5 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like comfortable
Daily?
for me. Not daily, because I'll lift one day,
Okay.
cardio the next,
Yep.
lift cardio.
Yeah.
And you do a
flip-flop.
lot of biking. Now you
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more biking because
Okay.
I've had 4 knee surgeries,
Oof.
so I'm trying to
he's
take
got
it easy
glass
on the
knees.
Glass knees. Derek
Yeah.
Rose knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you gotta play nice with those.
Yeah.
Some,
yeah.
Brutal.
Walking, sometimes they could just tear.
Okay. Not that bad, but close.
Both.
Close.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
ACL in both and meniscus twice. Both.
Yeah.
So
Basketball.
They're even.
I feel your pain.
Basketball's
Yeah.
been bad to Alex.
Well, I didn't blow a knee out like you did. That's
Pretty
a whole
much.
nother level.
But yours were non-contact, just like
Yeah.
Adam.
Okay.
Contact.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just moving so fast.
Wear and tear.
You know, it's
Just
hard to
cutting. and-
Lightning.
It's hard to
Lightning.
guys.
It's hard to stop the body when you're going that fast.
Yeah. I was like AI out there, just crossing people up.
That's not true.
It felt like it.
Yeah.
It was like that basketball high. You know?
So let's talk more about the run that you did in April
Yeah.
for the YMCA.
Sure. So this, again, I've always wanted to put a philanthropic footstep to running all these miles, and there's lots of good causes out there, right? We can all sit here and make a pretty long list, especially right now in the environment our world's in, right? I mean, there's lots of people in need. I've been on the board at the Y there in Fremont for 6 or 7 years, and we're always, like any membership-based organization, we're always trying to balance the budget, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It's tough, and in the community we're in the environment that we were dealt with the pandemic, I thought that it'd be cool to put together a race and cover those miles in honor of the first responders and the folks working there at the Y that keep watching the kids. We kept daycares open. We had to shut down,
awesome.
but the first responders and the people that still had to go to work every day needed a place for the kids to go. So we kept the doors open for them and kept our
That's
child
awesome.
care rolling, and they still needed money.
And you raised 15 grand?
We were just shy of 20,000 actually.
wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So after it was all said and done, with some of my business partners from Able CBD and all the folks in the surrounding community, hell, we had 40 different business sponsors that ponied up, and my initial thought was that you could sponsor X amount of miles or pay so much per mile, but that kind of fizzled, and that business strategy doesn't work evidently. So
Okay.
it worked a little bit better to say in my whole thing going into this with me and my wife Sarah, and we kind of partnered with my teammates over there at Able. We said, let's not ask for money. It's tough. We can't ask for money, but if you want to, we need to create awareness, right? That was the
Right.
biggest thing. So if you want to, please donate. It'll be used.
Right.
Finances, we're not going to turn away finance to anybody, but we wanted to spread the word and the cause and the why I was out there suffering. If I could suffer a little bit to help somebody else that needed it more than I do, small price to pay.
Y for the Y.
Did you have
Why
any,
for the why? That's
Yeah.
it. The
Did
why.
you have any issues running that race?
Yeah, it was a long day, so the whole day, I kind of had, me and my wife and the boys spent, so we like to eat a donut every once in a while. So if we're going to Lincoln, we're going to go to Hertz Donuts, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's like,
I've never been.
That's
oh
good.
my, you
Yeah,
gotta
That's
be
good.
kidding
I'm
me.
missing
Yep.
out.
I've had some late night
Yeah.
donuts there. Yeah. Yep.
There in
Yeah,
Taco Bell.
Her donut plug, right? So we drove the route, and we kind of had one established, but then we drove the route, got a donut, came back. I said, we could probably do this thing 13, 14 hours, 15, 16 if things go bad. And, first half of the day, I wanted to get going at 4, so we were back on this end in a good hour on the Fremont end. People could come out, have a beer, hang out at the parking lot of the YMCA. So I ran from Fremont YMCA to Lincoln downtown YMCA, which is it's just 52 and some change
Nice.
miles halfway.
Okay.
Got down there, and I think it was just under 7 hours. Got turned around and come home. Mother Nature, she shit on us. I mean, we had rain, we had sleet, we had a little hail, and the wind. Man, we had like 30-mile-an-hour headwind. So that just took the wind out of the sails on me. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
everything was going okay until then. But in running on pavement the whole way because we went down pretty much 77 and then hit gravel and then over. On the way home, you just would take the normal way you would come home from Lincoln to Fremont. You just jump on 77, come north through Wahoo, Saunders County, Dodge County home. But
is sleet and snow the worst conditions? I mean, what's the strongest wind you've ran against?
And I noticed you keep saying we did this.
Okay.
I'm like, you're out there alone, man.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people helping you, but ain't nobody else hoofing it like you.
Well, I did, and it does take a village to do those things, and
Sure.
I could not do it without my crew. My crew always consists of my wife and my kids, and then occasionally my folks or my in-laws will tag along, but and then my pacers. This time I was, blessed to have 3 pacers, 3 good buddies of mine that stuck it out with me, and they got the brunt of it as well.
Yeah.
So, but worst conditions.
And they're like, I'm never doing this again. Like, this is it.
I feel like Nebraska, you're always running against the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wind was just in my face. You're turning around, it's still in my face.
What happened? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's it. You could be more right. It's like, all right, I'm going to run straight into the wind. That's my MO. It's like, if I'm going to go training run, doesn't matter if it's 5 miles or 30 miles, I'm going to go straight in the wind first and then coast home, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That never ends up that way.
Just swirling.
always
The
like-
wind's always
It's like
swirling.
Wizard
Why
of
did
Oz
it-
out there.
Yeah. I ran in a tornado in Indiana once. That was gnarly.
You
like I
are
wasn't
crazy. You are.
It was gnarly, like the lightning, and that was the worst. That was like that. The most frustrating thing to me is it's my Western States qualifier is in Indiana. I don't remember the name of the race. It's in the spring, and man, I was smashing it. I think it was the fastest. I always say it was the fastest 100-miler I ever ran because I only made it to 92 miles, and then
They called it?
no,
Oh.
they should have, but they didn't. And so like I ran in first the whole race.
Oh.
And there was no problem. I think I ran 92 miles in something like 11 hours. And then I
Wow.
had to sit in an aid station for 3 hours because it was not runnable.
Because the weather was so bad.
Dude, it was gnarly. I mean, I just thank God we weren't further, me and my pacer weren't further away from the aid station.
Yeah.
And we got hunkered in, and then, man,
Did you
like
see the
rigor
tornado?
mortis set in. No, but it ripped some stuff up pretty
Okay.
good, really close to the state park we were in, and it was,
Wow.
man, that was rough.
Getting going again to finish. Oh, well, did you even start again?
Yeah,
like
oh, yeah.
it was over.
No. You finished. I could crawl 7-8 miles, but yes, I think I finished 3rd, but still, you just sit. I ate a
Yeah.
lot of Oreo cookies and chicken noodle soup, but then I go to stand up. It's like,
Another 8. Ugh. After I've done 92.
Yeah.
sat for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't think anybody that I evidently got past or I don't know how they survived out there, but I never.
So you're sitting in the aid station and someone goes by you?
I guess I was in a
That's-
tent, so
Sure.
it's like I don't see how that happened, but
Yeah.
I knew there were some guys on my coattail, but I don't know how it all transpired. Either way,
So
I
you're
didn't
saying
win.
conspiracy.
I'm
That's
saying,
what I'm hearing,
saying like you would
conspiracy.
talk Wizard of Oz. They must have got picked up and like dropped at
transported to the finish line?
because that was unrunnable. I mean, it was disgustingly crazy, like dangerous.
Torrential downpours and winds.
Yeah,
And,
the trail turned to a mud bog, knee-high mud, and it was just gnarly. It's kind of like, so Hurt 100, in all honesty, I did DNF the Hurt 100 in January. That was my second DNF in my career. And a DNF is a did not finish. Now, these things happen for various reasons. You get injured, weather.
A polar bear snipes you.
Yeah. Animal
did
attack.
not see that coming.
And that was, I DNF'd at 40 miles there. But let's put it this way. That's a prime example. So you run 92 miles in 11, 12 hours. I ran 40 miles in 11, 12 hours.
Wow.
It was like 11 hours at the Hurt. It was like a hiking competition. To me, we went to Hawaii for 11 days. We didn't see the sun for 11 days. All it did was rain. So that made an extremely challenging course
Sure.
even more dangerous. And I broke my toe, and it was a whirlwind of emotion. And one of the aid stations was a little sketch as far as crime went. So here we are. I'm sending my wife off to go, hey, Monty, he's 3, at the time. protect your mom, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
You're the man of the race now, okay?
yeah. A few challenges there, but a lot of guys, the guys who ran top 10 there that day, I think, 5, 6 of the top 10 dropped out at mile 40. It was just not worth it at the time, but we'll get redemption. We'll go back someday. But.
Would you consider yourself a top 25 ultramarathoner in the United States?
No, I wouldn't. If I had to.
Is that you being humble?
No,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty true. I mean, it is. If I had a good day, I think I could probably get to that status. But I don't have a coach. I don't. In all humility, running to me is not about being number one or number two. Winning's always fun. You're right. You show me a good loser, I'll show you a loser. But
I'm probably the latter.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say anything.
I've scratched the top 50 in North America as far as the 100-mile distance goes. But
Wow.
Twice, 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years, but that's just based on speed. And those are in some less competitive rate. Well, at that point, it doesn't matter if it's competitive or not. You get second or third, but you still covered that distance in that amount of time, which puts you at that level. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I still haven't put together, like we all chase, whatever we're passionate about. We all chase that perfect day and that perfect, when everything clicks, right? And you can just, like that 8 miles you talked about around Zarinsky, it's just
Sweet 8
clicking
miles.
off, and it just felt, it's just a sexy
Yeah.
day for you, and
Yeah.
you hung your hat on it ever since, right?
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't had a 100-mile day like that. There's always something that goes wrong. Nutrition, health, mental fortitude. So I say with all honesty and humility, that was my second DNF. I was in upstate New York running the Beast of Burden 100, and I DNF'd that one. That was my first one. So I have 2 DNFs in my career, and that one was even weirder because I was physically fine. I ran all day long to mile 75 in I think it was 8 or 9 hours, and I was in first, and I had an hour lead on second place, and I just got in the
Jeez.
car and went home.
Oh.
So bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just mentally just couldn't do it.
No, I didn't want to be out there anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. And my wife, if you ever see her in an aid station, she's a bulldog. She won't ever let me, she's like, you sign up for this shit. You
Pick it
finish
up,
this
pussy.
stuff. We're here because of you, finish, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to trick her because coming into mile 70, I had 12 miles until I saw her again. And I knew that if I came into that aid station at the appropriate pace and time I've been running all day, she wouldn't let me quit. So I had to hammer time so I could get in there before she got there. And so I hammered, and it was at night, obviously now. I don't think that race started till 10 or noon. And so her and the boys are always sleeping in the car, and I got into the aid station. I took my bib off, turned it in, and then I got in the car, and I was sitting there. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, DNF. She's like, get out of the car. She's like, go finish this race. I'm like, can't turn my bib in. Oh, that was a long ride home from upstate New York.
Yeah, no kidding.
Who's
I would
more-
think I would have come up lame, fake an injury. I would, but my hammy's just acting up. You know how it gets.
Yeah.
She'll fix it. That's
Yeah.
the problem. She'll be like, okay, I'll tape it or something. It's like, you can crawl this far, but.
So who's more intense then, your wife or Goggins?
You know, who? Okay, you have to
Good
explain who
question.
Goggins is.
Good
David
question.
Goggins. I was trying to transition.
Yeah,
different than I
no, that's a
normally
great.
do.
That's
But,
that's a great
yeah,
transition.
A
but
lot of people know David Goggins is this crazy military Navy SEAL guy who runs ultramarathons. That's his big get up.
Yeah.
And you've ran with him
Yeah.
or against him and beat him at some parts of the race.
Yeah, no, he's a beast, and so we shared some miles in Leadville this last year, and that was fun. He's
intense.
He's the
Super
epitome of
intense.
intense, right? Like, I don't know how that guy, operates so much. Like, it's not a persona, right? That's
He's not
literally
faking
how
it
he
all.
is, right?
well, he's a former Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked him up because I knew his name, but I
Okay.
didn't really know him.
Yeah.
And I saw that he lost 100 pounds in 3 months. Before
Yeah.
he became a Navy SEAL, and then ever since Navy SEAL, you're just a different
Yeah.
guy. I'm
Is
sure.
he yelling at himself while he's running?
Yeah, so we were going up Hope Pass, which is one of the most difficult parts of the race. So you go up Hope Pass, which is just shy, so you'd be, I think it's 42, 43. Don't write that down, but I think it's just shy of 50 miles because you turn around at Winfield Aid Station, which is just over 50 miles. Then you turn around and you come home and you have to summit Hope Pass twice, which is just shy of 14,000.
Oh.
So we're going up, and I we're power hiking at this point. I didn't have any sticks or anything, so I was on my quads, head down, grip and bearing it, don't have a pacer or anything, just trying to find some rhythm, and I hear this guy yelling at himself.
I hear Griffin Bear. I have a different picture. Like I'm sitting on a toilet. Like, Griffin Bear, baby.
And he,
There it is.
love it. And what did he say? Same thing he always says, like he is just true to form. I mean, if you've ever seen him do anything, workouts, running, you read his book, which I'd highly recommend, which is a pretty cool memoir. And he's saying, who's going to carry the boat? You can do this, Goggins. Talking to himself in third person, mind you. I'm like,
you got this, Goggins.
This is hilarious, which is I had read his book and I thought it was pretty attractive. And so I passed him, up in Overhope Pass. He says, I'll see you. I'm like, I got a Navy SEAL chasing me, right? So I hot dogged it up at Overhope Pass, and then, down hills, my quads were feeling good. So I hammered time down to Winfield and, back up. Here we go. Picked up a pacer and we turned around and come back up. So 2 hours, I summited it first time, back up another 2 hours. But right before we get to the top of Hope Pass, I hear this guy say, I told you I'd get you. And here he is right behind me. It's the same situation, but reversed. And so we get to the top of Hope Pass and my pacer says, hey, David, you mind if we snap a pic? And so we shared a pic, and then I lost track of him, but we both headed down the other side of Hope Pass and down to, I think it's Turquoise Lake. And yeah, it all worked out. So
he was one of the top ultramarathoners in the world, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah, so he's run some really fast races that were extremely competitive. I know he's done well, by all rights, he's not the fastest out there, but either am I, right? So we align pretty well as far as pace goes, but he's had some really decent success at races like the Badwater 135 and other competitive races that he's done really well at. So I could only dream to compete like that. So
have you ever considered that race in Death Valley? Isn't there a race out there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the Badwater 135. Yep.
Okay.
And I didn't get in this year. I got close. A buddy of mine did get in, so I was going to maybe see if he wanted me to pace him. It didn't matter, null and void when it got canceled. But it was. It's a sweet race, and that
sounds awesome.
So it's
Death Valley.
middle of the summer in Death Valley, right?
Correct. So it's usually that
hottest
first or
part
second.
in the world. Hottest part of the world.
Yep.
In the United States.
Yep.
I don't know if the world.
Yep. Northern Hemisphere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so, you run 135 miles through Death Valley, and then you finish up, you climb 17,000 feet and finish up in the mountains. So it's different, though. I mean, that you do that all on road, right? I mean, so it's a different kind of race. But
on blacktop.
Yeah. Through
It's like
Death Valley,
140
right?
degrees.
Yeah.
Death Valley's like 120, though.
Yeah,
Middle of July.
120s, 130s. Yeah. So this year in my line of
That's
business,
insane.
we in seed production, we it's always a little difficult to get away in July, right? So we have a few weeks here where we make or break our year because it's so crucial for pollinating, right? Cleaning these fields up, getting the crop pollinated, and then hoping that Mother Nature sees it, like she doesn't want to pick on us, right?
Yeah.
This year, the Badwater 135 was early, July 6th, I think it was planned for. So it would have worked out for me to go over there. I wouldn't feel so guilty splitting on
The biz.
on the boys. Yeah.
Sure.
Do you think you'll do 200 miles?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple. There's obviously less to choose from, but absolutely. The Bigfoot 200 looks pretty sweet.
Where's that at?
That's in California.
Okay.
And then Tahoe. There's one around Lake Tahoe.
That'd be pretty.
Yep. Moab 240.
Would that be a one run
Yeah.
nonstop race?
Yep. That would be a full through and through. You'd try to hammer down. Obviously, you would try to grab a nap or two, but try to keep those within a couple minutes time. It's amazing what you can do with
Power nap.
3 to 7 minutes of sleep or longer. But yeah, depending on the day.
I'd be out for an hour.
They call it a micro nap.
Micro napping.
Yeah.
It's new. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's true. I'm the dude at work that I
Really?
told you about.
Are we gonna name drop?
No, he'll hold. No, I'm not going to name drop. We might bring him on sometime.
Okay.
Anyway, he'll hold something in his hand.
Okay.
So when he falls asleep, he holds it off the bed.
Nice.
When it drops, it wakes him up. So it's
Interesting.
like a super quick, 2-3 minutes, almost like a doze. So when it starts to get heavy and his hand gets weak and drops the object, nap over.
Dude,
micro nap.
love that.
Yeah, he's super like health guy.
Okay.
I mean, like
He eats Japanese beetles.
he's eating Japanese beetles. Yes.
Yeah.
Fried
I'm
him
the
up.
weird one?
Yeah, no, he's super weird, and he gets made fun of for
no,
it.
no,
Yeah.
that there's got to be something to it.
Oh yeah, he said it tastes like chips when you fry them up.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, so
If
not
you get
that I'm
past
gonna
all the
try it.
pesticide that's on them.
Yeah, no
Well, they're
kidding.
probably not Omaha beetles, right?
Well,
they
no,
might
they
be.
were found behind the fire station. So yeah, probably heavy pesticide
Oh,
beetles.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. We can talk about him another time.
Barbecue.
Yeah. So what's the furthest race? Ultra. Is 200 the cutoff?
Consecutive. So they
Okay.
they coined those and they set cutoffs to them. And there's multi-day races. So example, there's this race called 6 Days in the Dome. I think it's in Michigan, maybe. But you just get on a track and you run for 6 days and see how far you can go. So within those, let's say that's the longest part, 6 days, X amount of hours. See how far you can go. It stair steps down. So there's a 100-mile race built in there. There's a 48-hour. Those are all like timed races, but that's where you get the most miles, right? So like,
Yeah.
there's real long ones out there, but yeah, man, I don't know.
That doesn't seem like see how many laps you can do on a track.
All right,
That
but that's
does
how you
not
get
seem attractive.
That's how you get really fast times out there too, built into like 100-mile distances too. It's just like it's all relative.
Sure.
I mean,
If
it's
you're
still
up in
100
Leadville,
miles.
if you're up in Leadville, that's quite a bit different than running on a
Yeah,
track.
yeah, there's a broad you're exactly right. There's a broad spectrum of what you want to accomplish. Do you want to run fast, or do you want to have an adventure? Fulfill some curiosity in running a long ways.
So last question here before we wrap up.
Yeah.
In the wintertime, are you running outside or are you on a treadmill?
Primarily outside.
Do you ever run on a treadmill?
I do.
Really?
I do. So with I've got an MRI tomorrow morning. Don't tell any of my competitors, but
Yeah.
they we'll see how that plays out. But I can run outside, no problem with it. But I don't want to continue to because it flares up bad after that.
Yeah.
So another good example is with all these virtual races going on right now, we're doing a 100,000-foot virtual race. So I'm trying to get 100,000 feet of virtual ascent because Leadville is canceled. They just did a virtual one. But I got a Nordic track that goes up to 40% incline. And that's a great way to get a lot of vert real quick. So I'll use it for that. It's a great way to get vert living in Nebraska too instead
Sure.
of doing hill repeats and things like that. So,
Yeah.
Yep. And then lightning, I won't mess around with it. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
And then when it's dog dick cold, like you're talking -30, -20 wind chills. Why? I'm not gonna go there. I can run with my shirt off in my barn. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna go.
Right.
I've done it, but I run in 1 year's time. The worst was I ran 115 degrees in the summer, and I ran in I think it was 25-degree wind chill. And that's
Wow.
just, they make really good gear out there, so you can get away with it.
Yeah.
You just
But how
gotta-
often are you going to see that on the course?
Right. But I think, it's just the same thing. It's if you train and punish yourself and suffer during the training block, it's like, well, the race will be easier, I
Sure.
guess. But
Right.
It's all mental. You
It
said
is.
it's 10% physical.
yeah, 90 mental.
90 mental.
What's the most you put on a treadmill? Miles.
I ran a 50K on a treadmill, 30 miles, one setting. Easter. It was
3
Easter.
miles is hard.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah. that's
it was.
forever, man.
It was long, but so I wouldn't say I cheated a little bit, but the beautiful thing of a treadmill is like, yeah, you're at 0, right? 0% incline. You hammer out an hour and a half and you crank out some Netflix and you get through your Outlander series and then you're like, oh man, I'm getting tired. You can go down, right? So that treadmill goes down too. So I ran downhill for another hour and then, I'm bored. Let's climb a little bit. And then,
Yeah.
four and a half hours, you're done. But that's 2 movies. Think about it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not that far. So.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I usually run in terms of movie length.
More like trailers.
yeah, exactly.
Well, Adam, it's been awesome having you on here. Very interesting.
Super
guys.
interesting. We wanted to get into more with you about your businesses and stuff, but
Yeah,
we're
I'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Come back
have
when I
you
can
back.
have a beer. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So look up Adam Monke, Monke, on Instagram, Facebook. Where else you at?
Yep, I do have Twitter. I don't,
Twitter?
I'm old-fashioned. I don't do social media. I never have. But with this running career and things like that, I do have a little bit of a platform there. My wife manages them. My wife manages
Styrofoam cup and string for some of you.
Yeah.
I do, Morse code
Yeah.
too. You know.
Dee-dee-dee-dee. But great having you on.
Yeah, it's been
good luck
awesome,
in
man.
the future with all your running races that potentially could be coming up, and
Yeah.
look forward to hearing from you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yep,
appreciate
thanks.
you.